All right, we are live. Hello, everyone. Woot woot. Just waiting for it to officially go live for y'all to actually be able to show up.
I feel like we need some kind of like intro music. I feel like Jeopardy's playing in my head while we're waiting because there's a little bit of a delay from what we're streaming to the like it showing up on YouTube.
Yeah.
So I feel like we need some kind of like intro music or something.
That would be fun.
But we'll add that to our list of things to do.
Yes, because we don't have enough to do. We can add more.
Hey, Catherine, welcome.
Hey, Catherine, how are you?
Glad you made it. Hope you're doing well. I know finals and things are like this is the time for that.
Yeah.
Stuff
it is final
crazy.
season. I forget about that.
I know, I do too. But then because I work with the college ministry at church, this upcoming Sunday is our last college lunch that we'll have for the semester, and then we'll be off for the summer, and then we'll start again in the next semester. So when they tell me that, then my brain goes, "Oh, ding, ding, ding!
Finals.
The semester is ending." Crushed by finals.
Oh, you can do it, Catherine.
You can. Well, and sometimes it's not just finals, it's the projects too, right? Because you could have finals and you just go and you take the exam and you're done, which is stressful and you got to study for it. But then there's the classes that are like, no, we don't have an exam, but you are going to spend a solid week on this project.
See, I would rather do the projects than the exam.
I like the projects because they're more creative and they're more fun than just going and taking an exam, but they are more labor intensive. And so sometimes when you get to the end of the semester, I'm just like, I just want to be done.
To me, the projects are like, there's a definitive, like, I know when I'm done. Whereas like when I'm studying for an exam, it's like, I can always study more. Like, what if I don't study enough and like run out of time? Like, I don't know.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Once the project is turned in, it's turned in and done.
So you have a rubric that's like, this is the outcome of the projects, and then
you have a good professor. You have a rubric.
Well, yeah.
Catherine says, "I have a class that has a project and a final." Those are the worst when they do both.
Yeah, there should be a law against that. You can have one or the other, not both.
Make your choice.
Yeah.
I did enjoy. I had a writing class my freshman year of college that. We worked essentially the end of the semester project. She had us strategically working on pieces of it throughout the whole semester. And we didn't kind of really put that together, I think, until she told us that's what we were doing. But it was really cool to be like, oh my gosh, it's like we're pacing ourselves.
I had a couple classes where we did that. We had like a 20-page paper due at the end of the semester. That was like our final. And we'd have to turn in like the outline beforehand or like our list of references beforehand. So it was like, great, we've got the steps in place. So then when it came time to actually writing the 20-page essay, it was like, I got all the things I need. I can just whip it out.
It's a professor who sets you up for success rather than failure. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we don't have a lot of announcements today. Actually, we don't have any reading challenge specific announcements, but we do have a couple things Cassie's got for her that she wants to let you guys know about because we like to let you guys know about those kinds of things.
Yes.
And then we'll dive in and go through our monthly recap. And so we don't have anything in particular. We're like in the thick of it, guys. We're almost halfway through the year.
We are.
Let's keep chugging. This is the point at which we're like, we don't have any like special magical woo, other than accountability and laughing about it because sometimes things are funny.
Yes.
So we hope that you had a great reading time in April, and we're going to discuss kind of how that went for us. And we're excited to hear how April went for you. So let us know in the comments. And before we get into that, Cassie, you have 2 things you wanted to tell us?
Yes, 2 things. First thing is I am launching an email list that is not an author email list, but it's for business on time management. So if you want help with time management and all of those fun things, goal setting, kind of all wrapped into that, stay tuned because that is coming hopefully in the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Where do they need to stay tuned? Where can they find more info about that?
Stay tuned on my Instagram or sign up for my author email newsletter, because that will also let you know when that goes live.
Cool. And if you need any kind of goal setting, time management thing, like Cassie is your girl. So
I do love it.
She loves it. She's great at it. It's what she gets paid to do in part with her job now. And she's got a degree and all of that jazz. So she's a girl.
Yes. I'm here for you.
Multiple degrees. I had to think for a second.
I mean, there's not really a degree that's like a master's in time management or something like that. But
sign me up.
Yeah. But on that note, the second thing is I am speaking on goal setting specifically for writers, because it's a writing summit in June. I don't have the links for that because the technology was being squirrely. So they're still getting me the links for it. So when that is available, I will have that on my Instagram, my personal newsletter. I'm sure we'll share it in our next, whatever next email comes after when I get the links. So if you're a writer and interested in it, it's a 2 or 3 day writing summit, which is going to be a lot of fun.
Are you allowed to say who that's with? Or are you going to wait?
I mean, I'm assuming I can. I don't know.
They didn't wait, just in case.
They didn't tell me I couldn't. But I'll wait. Keep y'all in suspense.
Well, we'll wait on that.
Yeah.
So, if you want any goal setting help, check that out. And stay tuned. Cassie's been working on a really cool lead magnet for her, a free resource for that new email newsletter that she's going to put out. And I've already peeked at it, and it looks really good.
Yes, best friend privileges. They get to peek at things.
And proofread them.
That too. Hey, you get a free resource for proofing it. There you go.
That's right.
Hi, Elizabeth. Glad you're here.
Yay. Yeah, the last couple times Elizabeth has messaged and said, oh no, I couldn't make it. So we're glad you're here.
So glad you could make it today. And you haven't missed anything. We just went over a couple announcements. So time management things. Super
time
fun.
Management. Check out Cassie. We are in the thick of the challenge. So let's dive in. I do want to go just maybe a little bit backwards here today, mix things up. Because we're kind of in the middle of the year. Cassie's giving me.
I'm like, what are you doing? She didn't run this by me beforehand, so
we do that on occasion to each other. It's fine. But I'm wondering for the challenge as a whole, how is that going? Because we often talk month to month, what was challenging, what was surprising. But is there anything in particular that has been difficult or been really enjoyable about the challenge? Is there anything that would kind of help you reignite? Because this is the slump period, right? This is the part where it's no longer new, it's no longer shiny, and we're not at the end where we're pushing towards like meeting the goals. We're in the middle months here, and this is the part of the challenge the last couple of years that we have noticed where we have to kind of like remember why we're doing this. So has there been for you anything for the challenge overall that has been a little bit challenging, or is there anything that like you're just really enjoying about the challenge? And then lastly, is there like, what are you doing to keep this fun for you?
Yeah. So honestly, I think the challenging part of the challenge came in the beginning when I was burned out or whatever it was that I was in my reading slump.
Yeah.
Because I feel great now and I don't feel the lull like I did the last couple of years. So you say that, and it's not the case for me this year, which is great. I already had that. I feel like on fire and excited and like.
Y'all, she did message me this month and she was like, girl, I'm reading so many books right now.
Yeah, a lot all at once. Well, and I also maxed out my library card of how many.
I didn't know that this could be done, guys. And maybe I'm just ignorant here, but I did not know that I knew that there's like a physical limit to how many books you walked out of the library with. And I've hit that as a child. And for some reason, it never occurred to me that there is also, in fact, an audiobook limit per library card.
It's a digital, so audiobook and ebooks. But since I mostly do it.
I see you know this.
Yeah, I can get 25 items from the library. The digital one. I don't know what the physical ones are. Excuse me, my dog needs
something new.
Whoops, I just knocked something off.
I heard that.
Yep. Whoops. I can't. Well, okay, so I got an air purifier, and so I've got the doors mostly closed on my office because it can't purify my entire house. It's a mini one, and because the big ones are expensive. So I can't, like, I got this little opening to, like, get it through. So it's not going very well. But yeah, so anyways, there's a limit. And I've maxed out the amount of holds I can have on items, and I have maxed out how many items I can have from the library.
What I'm hearing is you need to make progress through some of the things you already have checked out.
Yeah. But I keep finding new ones, and I'm like, ooh, let me check that out, and let me check that out. And yeah, so yeah.
Ooh. Elizabeth says she can only get 12. See, Cassie, apparently you would be in dire straits if you could only check out 12 things. Because Cassie over here be reading 100 books at once.
No, to be fair, I checked out all 25 items, but I didn't start all of them at once. Like, they're just sitting there, and I haven't started all of them.
It's not above you to start 25 books at once. Okay?
I don't think I've ever hit that many at once.
I think you were at like 21 at some point last year.
I was at 20, but yeah.
Okay. That's not that much different from 25.
It feels like a lot more. But hey, I'm not like, hey, if that want to add that to the challenge, I will start 25 books and see what happens.
Elizabeth says, I just discovered Hoopla. Okay, I've heard a lot of people uses Hoopla. I don't. I just use Libby. But
now Hoopla, I max every month because Hoopla, you can only get 5 a month.
Yeah, it has different parameters, I've heard. So, also, congrats on getting so close to your first bingo. Yay!
Yes, that's exciting.
Yeah. Okay, so
I got my first bingo.
How the challenge is going? Is there anything that has been particularly delightful or that you have enjoyed? And what are you doing to kind of stay? Because part of why we've begun this in the first place is because we want reading to be fun. So are you doing anything particular to keep your reading fun rather than to be tiresome and just because you're doing a challenge?
I mean, the variety makes it fun. And I'm one of those people that I love checklists. And so I look at these bingo cards as checklists, and it makes me so happy to check things off on the bingo card. So I think for me, that makes it really, really exciting. And
I'm one of those people that if you tell me I can't do something, I'll be like, watch me.
Yes.
I kind of feel like that with the bingo cards. I'm like, you tell me, you just watch.
Right, like when you said like it's not above you to be 25, I'm like, just watch, I'll do it. Like if you want to challenge me to, I will do it. Just watch me.
Yeah. I love that. Okay. So any other thoughts there before we dive into what you read for the month?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, Miss, I read 20 books at once. How many books did you read this month?
So this month I read technically 12, but I'm throwing in a 13th because you'll find out why when I go through the list.
Okay. I feel like you're playing number games now, but okay.
You'll understand. Okay, one of them is a book of the Bible.
Oh, okay. That's fair.
Because it was on the bingo card.
Yeah.
So I put it on the thing, but it's not technically a book. It's part of a book, but it's a book. You know what I mean? Like it's a book in a book.
There are a couple of bingo squares. In order to create variety, wanted to not just do novels. So we do have a couple that are go read a poem, go read a short story, go read an anthology, go read. There's a couple of them that have very specific, like for I think the December one, it has like the Christmas Carol on it because that's a December read in the middle of winter. So there are some squares, depending on what card you're looking at, that are a little bit more specific or a little bit more non-traditional. And that's one of them. And I think it's in the spring card, right? Is to go read one of the Gospels.
Yes.
Yeah. You can choose which one you want. But that's not like a full novel. It's still depending on whether, like some people, I know a lot of people that will read Luke because it's 24 chapters. They'll read one chapter a day during December leading up to the 25th, which is really cool.
That's
so
cool.
I
read Matthew in one day.
Oh, you were just like, let me just read these 28 chapters.
And it was Good Friday.
Oh, so that's amazing. See, that's really cool.
Yeah. And it got me my first bingo.
Yay.
And then I realized as I was doing my thing today, I got my second bingo.
Yay.
Which these are all books I have no idea where to put. So they're sitting on the edge there till they find a home.
I am going to pause you real quick. So the Cassie showed those. We have a couple of people who have generously allowed us. They've sent me pictures of what they're doing with their bingo cards or with the challenge. And so in the next recap email that we send out, which I'm hoping to do this weekend, but this weekend is a little bit crazy for me. So I'm hoping to do that tomorrow. That's my goal. But if it ends up being late, don't be upset. But we've had a couple of people who have sent in pictures that are showing us what they're doing with the challenge. And I'm really excited to send those to you guys so that you can kind of see what other people are doing. And maybe that will give you some ideas or encouragement or inspiration. So I just wanted to say thank you to those people who sent those pictures in. And Cassie, I also want to get one or two from you, which I forgot to tell you about. But I would love to get a picture of what you're doing to add to that. Because it's been cool to see how different people are kind of looking at the different bingo cards. So,
yeah. Cool.
Elizabeth says, I'm doing the book cover bingo. I do actually want to do that one, but I haven't touched it yet. That's one I might do in the second half of the year. And she says, I'm reading a book with a book on the cover. I love that.
I love that. It's so meta. It's so good.
Okay. So other than the gospel, what are the other 12 books that you read?
Okay. So I read, hold on, I'm grabbing my pile here. I read Maxine Justice, which I don't have. So can't show that to you. But it's an Enclave book and it's very good. So read Maxine Justice. And then I read a whole ton of the Kingdom Keepers books. This is the only one I haven't read because it's the next one, and my library doesn't have the audiobook of it. So
I have to reread those for a while. So I'm really excited that you finally made time.
And this is the last one in the series. So I can finally finish it.
A reread, or have you not read that one yet?
I've not read this one. Oh. Now, there's 2 other series afterwards that I still need to read too that he did, but this is the last one in the original. But so I read, how many of these did I read? 1, 2, I read 3 of these.
Okay.
So, yeah, 3 of these. Then I read this one, Once Upon a Christmas Past by Lori Langdon.
Really pretty cover.
And look at sprayed edges.
I love that.
And it even has it on the inside too. And color, they did a lot of color in this book.
That's really cool.
But it's really pretty. So this one. And then I read An Incredible Journey, which I don't own.
I read that one last month.
It's Homeward Bound, basically, for those of you. It is
the book that Homeward Bound was based on, yeah.
Yeah. And then I read The Power of Positive Thinking, which was a little prosperity gospel-ish to me. But, it was interesting. It is by Norman Vincent Peale.
I'm not familiar with him.
Yeah, it was interesting. It was a lot of stuff that is well, duh, yeah, I already knew that kind of stuff.
I love how sassy we are.
But then, other parts of it was he was if you pray for others, when you pray, you're more likely, your prayers are more likely to be answered. And I was
that's not biblical.
I'm well, yeah, we should pray for others. That's good. So solid work there. So anyways, yeah, it was interesting, but not my favorite thing that I read.
That's fair.
The next one I read, I have to caveat it because there were a lot of swear words in it. It's a nonfiction book, and it's called Rich AF. Literally AF. It's not spelled out.
Let us pause here to say that just because we're reading these books doesn't mean we recommend them for you.
Yes.
Please do your due diligence and look into the books before you choose to pick them up. We try to keep books that are clean, and we do have a very specific content type of audience. Both Cassie and I do.
Mm-hmm.
So we try to, for the most part, if we're talking about a book, it's generally something that is going to be okay. But we do also, just disclaimer, check it out for yourself, because everyone has a different tolerance level and different convictions, and we are totally okay with that. We want you to be educated about what you're getting into, rather than just assuming that just because we wet it, you should. So
yeah. Yes.
There's our monthly disclaimer.
Funny enough, though, the F word wasn't the word that she used the most. So take that for what it's worth. I read a different book that did not have AF in the title and had so many F-bombs. I was like,
That drives me nuts.
So this was not like that, but it was a lot of other words. So keep that in mind. It was a finance book. So I enjoyed it, actually. I liked it. So I read that one, and then I read How to Grow Your Small Business, which I really loved the analogy he made to the plane. I don't know if you can see the plane. Oh, there it is. Like the wings. So it was really cool. So this one was a good one. Buddy read that one with a friend.
Not me, just to clarify.
A different friend, yes. Her and I were buddy reading something else.
We read a lot, but yeah.
Yes. And then I read not this book, but another book by this author. This is Anna Rose Johnson. And I read The Luminous Life of Lucy Landry, which I don't own.
Are those related, or are they both standalone?
Standalones.
Okay, I wasn't
But
sure.
the cover looks so similar that I'm like, they've got to be
equal at first, but I wasn't sure.
If it is sequel, then I did not miss, I missed the connection. Because they're different characters.
Catherine says, how dare you have friends that aren't Coralie?
I know.
That's right. Thank you, Catherine.
How dare she have friends that are not me?
We love you, Catherine. You are the best.
Yes. So, yep, that one. And then I read this one Coralie has, Fairy Dust
and
the Quest for the Egg.
Found a way to trick her into reading this.
So that was the one that also, with Matthew here, I needed one more to get the bingo. So the Book of Matthew wasn't the one that got me the bingo. It was the Fairy Dust book.
Fairy Dust and the Quest for the Egg, and yes, Catherine, Gail Carson Living.
Yes. So
also, just this book is like the quality of this book is so, like, the paper, the pages, and the illustrations and the color. I am in love with this book.
It was cute. I enjoyed it.
It's a sweet little story, but also, like, Cassie never would have picked it up. She was trying so hard to find a spring book, and I was like, girl, I'm reading these Disney Fairies books, and they're, like, all spring. Like, I need an audiobook. And I was like, well, go pick up the first one. And she's like, oh, my library has it. I was like, yes.
It was either that or Alice in Wonderland, but I didn't really want to read Alice in Wonderland. That's not my thing.
Yeah.
And then the last book I read for the month, which is one that Coralie and I are buddy reading, or were, because now I finished it, is
I literally have like 2 chapters left.
Entre Leadership by Dave Ramsey.
Entre Leadership, yes. So that one will be on my list next month because.
And I just realized I could put this in the leadership category on my bingo card.
Yeah, on the nonfiction card.
Yeah, because I was gonna put it. I put the How to Grow Your Small Business here, which if I put it there, that means I only need one more to get a bingo here, which I am reading the book that goes there. So
excellent.
I will have another bingo before too long, which I love.
So what was your favorite read of the month, and what are you contemplating for favorite read of the year?
Favorite of the month, I would say it. Hold on, I gotta look at my list.
I do that every time. I'm like, what did I read?
I will say this was my favorite for the month.
Once Upon a Christmas Past?
Yes. Which is I thought it was a Christmas Carol retelling, but it's like what happens after the end of A Christmas Carol. So I thought I could put it on the Christmas Carol box, but I can't. But that's okay. It also, I did put it, where did I put it? Well, I got lots of bingo cards. There's the genre, spring. Where's winter? There it is. I'll put it here on, what is this one? Christmas read. Very whatever, but that's fine. It goes right there.
That works. Very apropos. What about for the year?
Oh my gosh, for the year. What have I said in the past? How come I can never, ever remember any of this? I'm going back to look. I'm sorry. I can't remember.
Okay. Again.
Oh, Emmeline Dulaine. And Andromache. Honestly, those two are still the top.
Okay. Good. Yeah. Did you find anything in particular this month that was difficult or challenging? And what was something that was delightful or surprising? Something unexpected?
Well, delightful and unexpected was finding out that my library had all of the audiobook, not all of them clearly, but the audiobooks for the Kingdom Keepers. Because that's been on my list for 2 years to finally finish the series that I started when I was, 12 years old, right? Forever and a day ago. And so I was like, yay, with the audiobooks, I can finally finish them. And then the sad part was I found out after I already went through all that they don't have the last one. But it's fine.
Oh, I think it's really interesting. That kind of reminds me of, was it last year or the year before we buddy read Inkheart and Inkspell? Yes. And the two of us had both read Inkheart and Inkspell before, but we'd never read Ink Death, which is the third one. Mm-hmm. And I read those when they came out. Not the first one was already out when I read them, obviously. Yeah. But I watched the second and the third one come. Like I have the first edition of the third one that my grandparents got me for Christmas that year. I distinctly remember opening that package and just squealing, and my whole family was like, "What?" And I was like, and then I never read it. Don't ask me what happened because I don't know.
Because so many other books took our attention. It happens.
I will say, I think part of what put me off was that I heard someone say that a particular ship sank. And so I was like, I don't want to read it if they're not together. And I think that may have influenced me. But after having freaking a decade, 15 years later, or whatever it was just really beautiful to be able to go back and reread a book that I loved as a child. Inkheart is amazing, if you guys don't know that one. And then Inkspell is also really creative and fun, and I did really enjoy getting to re-experience those, but also specifically getting to buddy read them with you and discuss what we loved about them. And it was cool that we got to read Ink Death together, and neither of us knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
And Ink Death is a little bit darker than the first two, as evidenced by the title. But I think that was a really cool experience to finally finish something that I started as a kid like that. So when you talk about Kingdom Keepers, I think about that.
Yeah, I wish. So the thing with Kingdom Keepers is they're not super well written, and now that I'm a better writer and I'm picking up on that, I'm like, cringe.
Yeah, it's weird how sometimes when you read a book that you loved as a kid and it stands the test of time, and you're like, Ella Enchanted,
like Inkheart,
amazing. Or Inkheart or The Giver. There's books that you read and you're just like, these really are still, they're great stories. They're well written. And then there's some of them that you're like, I loved this as a kid and I'm scared to read it again because what if I don't love it anymore? Yeah. And there are a couple of those out there that we do outgrow, but I don't think that negates how the impact that they had on us when we did read them. Yeah. It's just.
And I mean, I will still forever love Kingdom Keepers. I'm never going to sell my books. I will keep them. Most of them are at my mom's house, which is why I don't have them. But they are there. I'm not going to get rid of them. I have the first ever edition. Because here's the thing. It was supposed to be a standalone. There were never supposed to be any more books. And so it was just called The Kingdom Keepers was the book. And I have it in the original format. And then everyone loved the book so much that they're like, write more. And so then he was like, okay, now I need a subtitle for it. And then came up with all these other ideas. And then he republished it with that subtitle and then republished it later with brand new covers. So I still have the very original cover of that book, and I will not let it go.
I have books like that too, where it's And I hate when they redo the covers in the middle of the series, and so then your series doesn't match. But like, you cannot have my original cover because this is nostalgic, and this is what I read. So yeah. I love that. I love it, and I also love that this challenge brings those kinds of moments out. I think that's why we love doing the lives with you guys. Is one, like, again, accountability and community is what we want to build with this challenge. But like, we all have those moments. Right? Like the challengers that are following this with us, they have those moments. They have those books, and they may not be the same books as yours or mine. But what we love is the universality of the reader's experience, that you do have books that you loved as a kid. And you do have books that they changed to the covers in the middle of, and there's just there's moments. Have those fears of, if I go back and reread this book, am I still going to love it? And I love that we get to discuss that, because that's cool to know that other people have those experiences too. Yeah. I love it. Okay. Is that all that you had for your month? Is there anything else you wanted to add on top of that?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, let's dive in. So I read 10 books.
Ooh, yay. Which is more than we thought, because it was going to be an editing month.
Yes, so it was an editing month. One of the books I read twice in the month was the book that I had to do a quick read, and then I did a copy edit. And I'll be reading it again to proofread soon. And I can actually talk about it because they announced it. So I can so we'll get to that one. But Cassie and I both, we have learned in the past that when I have a copy edit, my brain just, it takes so much energy that I don't get as much personal reading done. So the 10 books is a little bit misleading, and we will discuss why as I go through them. Just a little bit. They are officially 10 books that I finished this month. But, so one of them is Traction. I read as a business book. I did not start and finish it this month. I had started it last month and finished it this month. So I finished this, I think, on day 2 or 3 of the month. So it still counts.
It counts.
So there's that. And then I read a novella. Met by Midnight is a Cinderella retelling. Maybe I texted you last night. I've been in a really Cinderella mood. This might be one. Because I picked that up last month, and I just now connected the dots because I've recently watched 2 different versions of Cinderella that I had never seen before. One of them was done actually they were both done in different languages. One was dubbed in English, and one of them, they had an English version of it, but it was culturally a different Cinderella. So anyways, and then I just finished another Cinderella book last night. So I've been binging Cinderella a little bit, and I just realized that it might be because of this one. Because I didn't really love this. It was okay. But I think I've craved, give me better Cinderella. And then this one is a discipleship book that I went through with a small group over the last 6 months. Did not just read this month. It was a week-by-week study that we did together, and we have to finish this month. So I feel like that's a little bit misleading with the 10 books because 2 of those I were finishing this month that I had previously put effort into, but it's fine.
I mean, a lot of the books I finished, I started in different months because they're ongoing.
Well, that's how you roll. Yeah. So that's fair.
So it's okay for me because that's how I roll. I got it. Okay.
Well, I think it's a little more normal for you. For me, I typically start and finish a book and start and finish a book. For you, you start several and then finish several. And I tend to do a little bit more one-on-one other than my devotionals and my nonfiction, which overlap a little. So, Catherine.
And yes, Catherine, I can't comment because she's got our YouTube account, but so shocked that Coralie's in a Cinderella mood. Just
in a Cinderella mood?
Who knew?
Also, there's one that's coming out that Sarah Ella is working on, and we're supposed to get the arcs for that soon.
I'm so excited.
I'm dying for that. So it'll be perfect. It'll roll right into this. Okay, and then I'm going to circle back to the one that I copy edited for work because 5 of the books that I did were Disney Fairies books. Again. So these are little 45-minute reads. They're basically novellas is what they are for kids. So I read Rosetta's Daring Day, Iridessa Lost at Sea, and you can't tell the sparkles, but there's sparkles on the cover, and I love them. Queen Clarion's Secret, Micah Finds Her Way, and Lily in Full Bloom. So for those of you who don't know, I love Tinkerbell just as much as I love Cinderella and The Little Mermaid. And I own all of these except like one of them that I can't find anywhere, which is infuriating. But 2 years ago, I started rereading all of them just for fun because I was in a very reread, just what we were talking about, rereading books that I loved. And these didn't come out when I was a kid. These came out when I was in college. But I did really enjoy them. And they are, for me, they're what was most delightful this month was just, again, picking up a book that is just pure fun. And their illustrations are just stunning. Like, the illustrations are gorgeous. The stories are really fun and light and fluffy, but they also have meaningful themes about friendship and sacrifice and courage. So I really enjoyed the series. And for me, it was just delightful to read purely for the fun of it this month. But there's 2 more books, and one of them is Memoria, which I don't own, but Cassie does. I love the cover. It's beautiful. So I've finished the Nightingale trilogy finally. I love it. I love the shiny purpleness.
It's so fun.
I also love that the books are green, blue, and purple because those are like my 3. The combination of those 3 is my favorite combination of colors.
Yeah. Oh, I have.
So it makes me happy.
Oh, I put Lumen all the way over there, but.
Well, I have the first one. I don't have the second and third one yet. But yeah, the covers together are really pretty.
Hold on. Do you want me to grab the other one?
Sure, you can.
Okay.
So I finished Memoria this month. That was kind of my one goal was to read that book. That's the one book I thought I was going to finish this month. So I obviously got to read more than that, but that was the one that was like actually a personal read. Lumen, I love the green. I see just the combination of those 3 colors, absolutely stunning. That is my favorite color combination ever. But
it's great. And these are good books. So
they are good. And they've got the Hades and Persephone thing going on, so there's a little thread of retelling in there.
I need to get the 4th one.
I know. When does that come out?
I think this month.
Soon. It should be soon. So the 4th one is a companion novel, I believe. Technically, it's not. So the trilogy is complete. The 4th one is in addition.
It takes one of the characters from the series.
It takes place after the trilogy. So chronologically, you do want to read it afterwards. I wouldn't go read the blurb if you haven't read the trilogy because there are spoilers in the blurb.
Yeah.
But I actually haven't read the blurb yet. I just know there are spoilers because the author is amazing and she tells people that. So I have been able to, thus far, skip all of the posts with the blurb.
And I read the blurb, so I know what spoilers are in there.
Okay. Also, the cover for that is beautiful.
And it matches. She couldn't get the same cover designer to do it, but they gave all like the elements that they used to make these to a different cover designer. So really it cool. Still looks the same.
Was willing to share that material just because he wasn't able to get to the design, which is really cool. I think that's cool.
Yeah.
Anyways, okay, so, and then the last book that I read, it's not the last book that I read, it's the last book I haven't talked about, let me rephrase that, was the one that I was copy editing for. And I work for S.D. Smith's team at Storywarren, and so his newest book is called Green Ember, Helmer and the Dragon Tomb, and the cover for it is stunning, and I wish I, had a copy to show you, but I don't yet.
Did they reveal the cover?
They did. So,
I haven't seen it.
Oh, you haven't seen it? I can share my screen. So they're doing a Kickstarter because, and this is the cool announcement that I've held this back for months, guys. Months I have been helping with this and working on this. But not only is he releasing a new book, which is based on the character Helmer that a lot of people in the Green Ember world absolutely love, including me. Helmer is one of my favorite characters. I don't know if this is my favorite book in the series or not, but I love this one. But he is simultaneously releasing a video game version of the book. So they're doing a Kickstarter right now to raise money for that. But let me share my.
And I didn't realize that it was of that book. I knew that.
So the game follows the same story as the book.
Okay.
No, I don't want to stop
cool.
camera. I want to present. Share screen. There we go. Okay, can you see this?
Yes.
Yay! Okay, so there's a video for the Kickstarter you can go and check out. I guess if I clicked on the Kickstarter, that would help. But so yeah, it's a little bit small, but there's the book and then the game. So this is basically it's flipped, but this is from the cover of the book and this is from the cover of the game.
Okay. That's so cool.
Yeah, it's really fun. I love the purple. I love the you can't see it super well here, but because of the play button, but that's a dragon statue. So I love the tomb background and I love the torch. So I think it's really cool. Anyways, if you're at all a Green Ember fan, go check it out because pretty awesome. So I read that book twice this month, and that was my 10th and technically 11th, if you want to count it twice, book for the month. Cool.
Yay! You read more than you thought you were going to, even if they were smaller books. Like you still, we were anticipating really 4 books.
Yeah, no, I thought I was going to finish Memoria and then obviously finish the discipleship book and the nonfiction book, the traction book. And I thought that was going to be it. And then
I just realized I didn't put my women's Bible study book on there.
You'll have to edit that for next week or next month. So
I finished it last month, so it technically goes last month in April.
Have to fix that then. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so something that was challenging. Something that I thought would be challenging is the fact that I'm editing. But I don't know if you can hear the thunder. I'm so sorry. We're almost done.
Oh, I've got thunder too.
We're having a big thunderstorm rolling right now.
Same.
I was gonna take a walk, but now I'm not because it's raining. It's fine. So I thought it would be more challenging to read, but I think it's because I chose to pick these little books, and it wasn't just that they were little, it's that I could finish them and be done with them and get them out of my brain. I think part of what's hard about reading while I edit is continuing to keep a story in my brain while I'm reading it over the course of several days, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it was really, it worked really well that I wanted to, the reason I'm rereading these is because when I started rereading them a couple years ago, I only got halfway through the series and then got distracted because I'm a mood reader and that's what happens. So I'm finishing rereading the rest of the series, but also there is a book that Disney contracted an author to come out with in the Disney Fairy world that I bought. So I wanted to reread these to kind of lead into that novel. So you'll see that one coming up soon because it's on my TBR. I've got 5 more of these to read through. So anyway, this was my favorite book of the month, which is, it sounds kind of silly to say that because I read some really fun books this month. But I think I just really loved the story in this one, and I love the illustrations in this one. And this was the first one that I picked up after a year of not reading these. And it was such a delightful, purely fun experience. So that would be my favorite for the month. Favorite for the year, I think, is still, I feel like Cassie, what have I decided? I don't even know. I think, not Caligo. Caligo's the 4th one. What's the first one?
Calor?
Calor, thank you. I was like, what's the name of the first one? I was trying to say Calor in my brain, which is the 4th one. I think Calor is in the running, and then I thought there was one more that was in the running. It may be Keeper of the Lost Cities, which is a reread, which in the past we've not done rereads as the winner for the giveaway at the end of the year, but it's still my, I don't know, we'll see.
Well, I thought we always did we did choose not rereads because Harry Potter or those things that we absolutely love.
Or the Rings.
But I feel excluding those super popular ones, maybe we could make exceptions. I don't know.
For me, I'm not opposed to saying this was my favorite read of the year, but picking a different favorite read for the giveaway that is my favorite new read or whatnot. So that's a little bit nuanced there. I think Calor is in the running. I think because last month it was Lumen. I almost picked Memoria this month, but it was just so delightful to read Rosetta's Daring Day that I was like, I want to pick this because it was fun. Not that I didn't thoroughly enjoy Memoria. Absolutely 5-star read. Great way to conclude the trilogy. She pulled everything together really well. There's some books that you read where there's lots of multiple threads, and you just wonder how they're going to get pulled together, and then they don't quite get pulled together. But I feel like J.J. Fisher really tied all of her elements together and created a very satisfying conclusion that addressed everything that she started really well. So I enjoyed it for that. So it would have been my favorite if I wasn't just enchanted by Disney Fairies.
That is fair. That is fair.
So yeah, that was my kind of delightful. It was nice to read for fun when I didn't expect to be able to read for fun. And then a challenge or difficulty. I think one thing that was actually challenging, because I thought that would be challenging and it really wasn't. One thing that has been challenging is I've been in a little bit of a reading slump, and I think that was not because of the copy edit, because it felt like I was in the real reading slump before I started the copy edit, and I think that was due to, which we touched on this last month, but I have read a string, like 3 or 4, like 3-star books in the last 2 months. And not only were they 3-star books, one of them is a 2-star book, but like they were books that I was particularly excited to read. And so I think it was a disappointment. It was not just that it was a meh book. It was I expected more, and it was a meh book.
Yeah.
And so I think that put me in a little bit of I don't really want to read anything, because the last reading experiences have not been great. And then there are 2 books that are on my TBR right now that I'm looking at reading next that I've been warring between which one to start, and just purely out of a lack of having the energy to choose, I've not started either of them.
Oh no.
So I think I'm in a bit of a reading slump, and I don't know that I'm necessarily out of it yet because of the copy editing, which does complicate things a little bit. But I do think the Disney Fairies string of kind of reading some of those has been it has been delightful in a way. And the Cinderella book that I just finished was excellent. So I think I'm on the way out of that. But that would be kind of my challenge, is just reading hasn't been quite so fun lately. Even though I have read a couple of really good books this month, which is helping with that. So, okay. Anything else? I think that's everything. We don't really have any reading challenge announcements. Look for the email. It'll be coming soon, tomorrow, but possibly next week. And then we will see you guys in June. Our next Zoom isn't until August, so we've got a little while for that because we just had one in April. So we'll do a Zoom in August. But yeah, let us know how you're going with the challenge. Leave a comment or send us an email. We love to hear from y'all. Yeah, and you guys are so awesome to show us. And again, I'll send you pictures of what some of you guys are doing because it's really cool. But I love hearing when you've got a bingo and what you're reading and what you're loving and what you're not loving. Part of what we love about this challenge is that there's community and getting to connect with readers like you guys. So thanks for coming along, and we'll see you next month.
Yes, thanks for coming. Always good to see you, Catherine.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.